I've been blessed to grow up after the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act in 1990. So I witnessed so many people with disabilities and people of color who unapologetically claim their bodily autonomy. Also in my lifetime, I have witnessed bodily autonomy be stripped from my community time and time again. I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen the stories about forced sterilization, issues with guardianship, such as what we saw in the Free Britney campaign, and the overturning of Roe v. Wade. So which is it? Do we have bodily autonomy or not? Welcome to folks who may be new to me or the named advocates. My name is Carrie Gray and I identify as a Black disabled woman. I'm the founder of the National Alliance of Melanin Disabled Advocates. We go by the named advocates, and our content is about racial and disability justice. In today's video, we're going to be looking at 5 BIPOC icons who show us what bodily autonomy really is. Well, first, let's start with the definition. Bodily autonomy is the freedom to make decisions about your own body. It is also being able to decide when you require assistance and when you can figure it out for yourself. Bodily autonomy is something I have explored time and time again. Who decides what happens to my body in regards to my health? Is that my parents? My doctors? Is it me? Do I have bodily autonomy in my relationships? At work? Situation after situation has me re-exploring what bodily autonomy really means. Thankfully, we have some BIPOC icons who have paved the way. The first person I'm going to discuss is Sonya Renee Taylor and her work, The Body Is Not an Apology. Ooh, isn't that title just so powerful? Her work started with a conversation with a friend about an unintended pregnancy. Quote, when Sonya asked why her friend had chosen to have unprotected sex with a casual partner, her friend shared that her cerebral palsy made it difficult to be sexual, and thus she did not feel entitled to ask her sexual partner to use a condom. Sonya's response was swift. Your body is not an apology. You do not use it to say sorry for my disability. End quote. This conversation is important because bodily autonomy starts with the radical execution of self-love. Bodily autonomy is not simply a fact that just is. It is an action that undercuts both ableism and internalized ableism. The second icon that I want to mention is Lewis Curtis, who is instrumental in the fight against needless institutionalization of people with disabilities. Lewis Curtis. She was institutionalized in mental health facilities from the age of 12 years old to 27 years old. Again and again, she expressed her desire to live in community-based housing, and even after she was approved to leave, the state still left her in an institution. She eventually became the lead plaintiff in the landmark Supreme Court case Olmstead versus LC. This case ruled that, quote, the warehousing of people with developmental disabilities and deficient mental institutions, when they are capable of being integrated into community settings and group homes or host homes, constituted discrimination under the 1990 Americans with Disabilities Act, end quote. Unfortunately, there are many people who believe that people with mental health disabilities, intellectual disabilities, neurodiverse disabilities should not have the freedom to decide what happens to their bodies. What I deeply respect about Lewis Curtis is that she fought for her bodily autonomy and she won, not only for herself, but for the many of us that came after her. The third BIPOC disabled icon, and I definitely want to note disabled icon, is Sojourner Truth. And if you didn't know, look it up. Sojourner Truth, we talk about her a lot, but did you know that she had disabilities in her hand? Another story for another day. So Sojourner Truth highlights a historical reality in our country that BIPOC disabled people are often denied access to bodily autonomy. She is known for her iconic speech, Ain't I a Woman, where she says, quote, that man over there say that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best places everywhere. Nobody ever helped me into carriages or over mud puddles or even give me any best place. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't Unite our woman. End quote. The fight for bodily autonomy has included everything from forced pregnancies to increase the labor pool across the U.S. to the sterilization of women of color and women with disabilities to abortion bans. Sojourner Truth's message was to claim power because it belongs to us. Claim your power. Claim your bodily autonomy because unfortunately many will try to take it. The last two BIPOC disabled icons that I would love to get homage to is Representative Ayanna Pressley and Jada Pinkett Smith. Yes. Both of these women have been diagnosed with alopecia, which is an autoimmune disorder that causes your hair to come out. I still get chills when I think of the day when both of these women came out about their disabilities and boldly shared to the world pictures and videos of themselves with shaved heads. It was a beauty like I had never seen before. Like I had never seen anything more beautiful in my life. Jada Pinkett Smith talks about that time and she says, quote, "It's been a hard one, a scary one, because specifically as Black women, we identify so much of ourselves with our hair. And it was scary. I had to really dig deep and see the beauty of myself beyond my aesthetics." End quote. These women taught me to love every phase of my life. They taught me that the medical components of my disabilities are not the end of me. Instead, I have the power to decide how I will respond to what life throws at me. I have the power to determine my identity, and I have the power to love my identity. Now, bodily autonomy means different things to different people. Stigma and ableism enforces the idea that people with disabilities cannot perform certain tasks or make their own decisions. When I imagine a life with bodily autonomy, I imagine Solange Knowles' track, "Don't Touch My Hair," from the legendary album, A Seat at the Table. In this song, Solange was expressing autonomy over her hair as a Black woman in society. If I could remix that song, I would say, "Don't touch my hair or my prosthetic." To me, bodily autonomy includes our durable medical equipment. Our durable medical equipment are sacred extensions of our body. My prosthetic is a part of me. It's not appropriate for folks to touch our prosthetics or our wheelchairs, our canes, even out of well-meaning curiosity or good intentions. If we bring back the definition of bodily autonomy, note that it is the freedom to make decisions about your own body. It is also being able to decide when you require assistance and when you can figure it out for yourself. Even if you see me or people with disabilities genuinely struggling, you can tell we probably need some help. You cannot force your help on us. It is imperative that you ask first and accept whether we say yes or no. What do you think? What does bodily autonomy mean to you? Who are some of your North Stars or BIPOC disabled icons who have taught you about bodily autonomy? Let me know in the comments below. All right, y'all. So who's interested in being an advocate towards bodily autonomy? Here are a couple of key ways that I encourage you to get involved. 1, fight against forced sterilization. This has been an ongoing issue even in today's society where we believe that certain people just are not worthy of pregnancy. Fight against forced sterilization. 2, I want to encourage you to support guardianship reform. Sometimes there's a need for us to hand over our autonomy to others, and when you're a kid or in times of crisis, that guardianship can very quickly lead to an abuse of power. It is important that we support guardianship reform. 3, explore community-based services for mental health crisis. Here, I've been living in the Washington, D.C. area for about 7 years now, and we have what's called the D.C. Safety Squad, an incredible group of folks who are certified mental health responders as an alternative to calling the police. These community-based services are critical in the integration of our community. 4, I want to encourage you to speak up for your needs. Sonia Renee Taylor, in her book, The Body is Not an Apology, she talks about our world is made up of systems that thrive on invalidating different bodies. It is important for you to know your worth and to speak up for it. And then 5, I want to encourage you to respect the bodily autonomy of others. All right, y'all, that is our video today for bodily autonomy. I want to encourage you to subscribe to the Named Advocates YouTube page and follow us on social media. This is an invitation to be a part of the Names Advocates community, where we gather BIPOC people, BIPOC leaders across the country, both BIPOC disabled leaders and our BIPOC allies. Develop your leadership skills that are grounded in BIPOC disability justice principles. Until next time, I hope you have a great one.